Hi world, it's Wednesday the 27th of October 2021. It's about 3 p.m, 3:30 p.m. in the UK in the afternoon here. A week or so ago I did a video about the full moon in Aries and the square of that full moon from the Sun and Moon to Pluto. And I also talked about the new moon that was coming after it, which is in about a week's time, maybe 8 days time from now, in Scorpio. And I talked about how these moons, immediately followed by the eclipses of November and December, are in many ways summarizing much of what's been going on for a lot of people in this last couple of years. It's been a bit of a weird time in this last week or two. On a personal level, as a few of you know, I've been going through Neptune squaring my moon and Neptune squaring my Mercury and Neptune squaring my midheaven all of this year. And a part of me's been a bit off planet this year. A lot of things have been dissolving. What very few people have known is that about 3-4 weeks ago, one of the closest people to me in my life, I'm not going to name who they are, but one of the 2 or 3 closest people in my life went into hospital with COVID. And at one stage, a couple of weeks ago, I really thought they weren't going to last another 24 hours. And to my absolute pleasure, they came out of hospital today COVID-free. And it's an older person as well, someone in their 80s. And it's like, for that to happen is remarkable. So yeah, I've got personal experience of this. But that's just my stuff. It seems all around me, and it's all around a lot of my clients at the moment. It seems like just in this last few weeks there's been a lot of endings and new beginnings, a lot of things coming to a conclusion, and a lot of imminent closure. There's been a few deaths, but there's also been some heroic stories of people struggling and pulling through challenging times. And when you look at that last full moon of nearly a week ago, with both the Sun and the Moon squaring Pluto, Pluto is now moving forward. He's getting ready to enter the last few degrees of Capricorn. And yeah, the death and rebirth principle here, the intensity and the extremes, the potential for crisis and trauma, but also the transformation, the regeneration, the rebirth, the remolding and reshaping, the purging, detoxing and cleansing, the eliminating. Pluto is such a powerful force. Now, quite how a planet that's smaller than our moon and 4 billion miles away works, well, I can only refer you to quantum on that one, and that's my get out clause. Statistically, I can prove it works hundreds, if not thousands of times over. Pluto, of course, is the ruler of Scorpio, astrologically speaking. And the next new moon in the evening UK time on Saturday not the Saturday, 30th, 31st, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4th, Thursday the 4th of November in the evening will be at 12.5 degrees of Scorpio, the Sun and the Moon, and it will be precisely opposite Uranus. So it seems that coming out of a 2 to 3 week period of closure, endings, death and rebirth, new beginnings, some people not making it, others really pulling through, it seems that we're then heading into a 2 to 3 week period of incisive action, which is going to change the world. Seriously. There are developments over the coming month that are going to shock and change the world. Now, I don't want to preempt anything and I don't want to dream anything in. The Queen of England has been on the throne since before I was born, and I'm 66. So she's been on the throne nearly 70 years. It'll be 70 years next year. She's old. Her son is implicitly involved in the court case that's coming up at the end of November involving Ghislaine Maxwell, and by extension references to Jeffrey Epstein. And there's definitely a case for a full video on this in times to come, because the similarities between the horoscopes of Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein is truly, truly phenomenal. There's so many similarities, it's way beyond synchronicity. And Pluto is going to hit all of their charts very strongly indeed in the coming months. So there's going to be big revelations there. Lots and lots of things coming up from the underworld before the end of this year. Lots of revelation, lots of secrets suddenly being exposed. We live in interesting times. Thing is, just after these Scorpionic and Plutonian moons, we then have two eclipses. We have a total eclipse of the sun and a partial eclipse of the moon. The partial eclipse of the full moon at 27 degrees of Taurus, somewhere towards mid-end November, followed by the total eclipse of the sun. It's not going to hit many places in the world, but it will be a total eclipse around the 4th of December. And these are also talking of fresh starts and new beginnings. So it seems like all over the world there are big changes afoot. Now, this is happening in terms of constitutional, political, governmental, even corporate. The world is changing incredibly fast, but it's almost as if it's being dragged kicking and screaming. There's so many different vested interest groups, from the environmental through to the financial and everywhere in between, all wanting the world to be their way. And it does seem that the choices are becoming more and more stark, less and less varied, more yes, no, black, white. Now, the beauty of being a practicing astrologer is that I see, on average, I only work 3 days a week now because I'm old, right? But even so, on those 3 days a week, I see an average of 15 to 20 clients every week. And when you see that many people week in, week out, and you see the patterns developing in their charts, you get an idea of what's coming up. And what I'm beginning to pick up is that the more we get into the end of this year, it's all going to get just a little bit sort of ballistic. It's all going to get a little bit what I call monkey poo. It's all going to go a bit crazy. And then we get into January and February, and I seem to be recommending a lot of people to go on holiday during April, March, April, May, mid-March to mid-May, on the grounds that when they come back, they're going to be getting stuck into something in a way that's going to require all their energy. What seems to be the case from what I'm seeing is that by the time Jupiter leaves Pisces for the first time and moves into Aries mid-May, and by the time that Uranus starts to go retrograde again early July next year, it truly does suggest to me that the first 5 months of next year are going to have a degree of radicality, freneticism, immediacy, change. But what seems to be coming through clearer and clearer in more than 85% of the charts I'm doing at the moment suggests that from June onwards of next year, we enter a 7 to 8 month period, if not longer, because I haven't really looked into 2023 yet. But certainly the second 7 months of next year look like being much more, the words I'm using are regular, steady, stable, consistent, grounded. There appears to be no sign in the second 7 months of next year of any new significant big changes, drama, crises, trauma. I don't want to call it light at the end of the tunnel, but it does seem that the vast majority of individuals are heading into a much easier time in the second half of next year. So speaking to individuals, yes, everyone's going to be affected by the moons and the outcome of the last couple of years of craziness. But hang in there. There is hope. And the more we get into the second quarter, and especially the middle of next year, we do seem to be entering a much more stable time. That's all for now. I'll come back and do something a bit more specific, both on the Maxwell case and on the short-term future within a week or so. Catch you later, world. Bye.